Hello, friends. This is Dave Hurwitz, Executive Editor at ClassicsToday.com with number 2 in our series of interesting overtures. These are overtures by composers we don't normally listen to or unknown works by composers we do normally listen to. And this particular work belongs in the latter category. It is by Gustav Mahler. Did you know that Mahler wrote an overture? Well, he did, sort of. There are only 2 orchestral movements by Mahler which are not part of something else that we know about, part of the symphonies or the standard canon of Mahler works. One is the Blumena Movement. That is the original second movement of the First Symphony, which was originally part of incidental music to a play called Der Trompeter von Sackingen, which has disappeared other than that one movement. And that can be played separately. It's charming and it's delightful, but it really isn't an overture. The other piece is the intermezzo, the introduction or overture to Act 2, pardon me, there we go, of his opera, Die Drei Pintos. The Three Pintos. Now, what was Die Drei Pintos? Die Drei Pintos came about because Mahler was having an affair with Carl Maria von Weber's, I think was she his grandniece or granddaughter or something like that. Anyway, when he was a young conductor, he apparently got around and had a good time with many of the singers and other people, but he was friendly with the Weber family, and they asked him to put together a complete opera from Weber's sketches. Now, there was very little to go on, actually, and so Mahler wrote the opera in 2 acts. A good bit of it, some of the tunes and themes were Weber's, and everything else was Mahler's. It's mostly Mahler, and very good early Mahler. It's the earliest Mahler that we have, actually. It was quite successful in its day, and he made a lot of money off of it, and then it disappeared completely. Without a trace. And it's such a pity. It's only been recorded twice. Once a not very great live recording on Naxos, and then there was a fine performance on RCA with Lucia Popp, and it was originally on Eurodisc, and it's disappeared completely. Someone may be able to dig it up somewhere. It's worth reviving in a fine recording. It really is. It's a good work. Now, Mahler was, as he said, he didn't dare to write a fake Weber overture, but he thought he could write a fake Weber intermezzo, that is, an overture preceding the second act. And that is the piece we're going to talk about, the interesting overture. It is quite brief. It's only, it's 5 minutes and 50 seconds long. So we're going to run the whole thing, and you really have to hear it. It's wonderful. It sounds like Weber, sort of, but the orchestration is updated. It has a little percussion. It has some Col Legno strings in it, I think, in a few places. It's Mahler's orchestration applied to the Weber style of music, which was very natural for Mahler because, that was why Weber was one of his most admired composers. And it's on this Naxos disc, which I really recommend you get your hands on. It's Symphonies 1 and 2, and the overtures to Turandot and Silvana, and you also get some other incidental music, and then this little Entr'Acte. It's not an intermezzo, it's an Entr'Acte. And it's an overture, effectively. It's called Entr'Acte. It's just a delicious little rarity, and there are very few Mahlerian rarities. Because he destroyed everything else, nothing survives from his earliest period. And so I recommend very strongly that you give it a listen. Well, you're going to give it a listen now. I think that this is such a wonderful piece of trivia to play for friends of yours who think they know Mahler or who don't think they like Mahler. It comes out of nowhere. The main tune, by the way, when it gets going, it's very, very interesting. Compare it to the theme of the finale of Beethoven's Triple Concerto. They are very closely related, in my view anyway. They seem to have a familial resemblance. So this is the Queensland Philharmonic Orchestra under John Georgiadis, and it's a very good performance on Naxos. The Entr'Acte from Die Drei Pintos by Gustav Mahler. funny, isn't it, how even when you have a composer that's this well known, I mean, who wrote such a limited amount of stuff, there's still something flying out there under the radar that's sort of uncategorizable because, you know, if you're not doing the complete opera, it won't have any independent existence. But it would make a delightful concert opener, a lovely little piece to play, and it's perfect for community orchestras. The only question is, can you get the music and the parts? But still, I just think it's delicious, and this particular format, the interesting overture format, gives me an opportunity to present it to you now. So I'm delighted to do that, to round out our series of videos about Mahler and Mahler's music. So keep on listening, folks. Thanks so much for joining me. Go find your interesting overtures. Take care.